What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Wonbyone Podcast, where we talk about the mindsets, habits, and systems that drive success both on and off the court. I'm your host, Obi Emegano, 8-year professional athlete, Tokyo 2020 Olympian. I'm here joined today, one of my guys, Marcus. Marcus, what's going on, man? How you doing?
What's going on? I'm happy to be here, man. I'm
Yeah,
definitely happy to
man.
be here.
Yeah. Hey, so I know we've been kind of chopping it up a little bit, man, but I've been following you for a long time. Following you on Instagram, seeing all your tips and tricks. That we talk about the knee rehab and all those exercises that strengthen the knees and things like that. As you know, you probably don't know actually. I've had 5 surgeries myself,
Yeah.
2 torn ACLs, tore
Mhm.
my ACL last like 2-3 years ago, I believe, and so been kind of battling back from that. But seeing your IG, man, coming across that, I think a couple of years ago, came across that, just seeing some of the rehab stuff that you do, the ATG stuff that you do, I kind of fell in love with that stuff, man. It's been a huge help for me. So I wanted to have you on here, especially for athletes, basketball player, but a lot of my athletes are basketball players as well, dealing with knee pain, ankle, hips, all those things, right? The core areas in sports. And so wanted to bring you on here, man, share your expertise, share your knowledge, share your wisdom with us, man. So if you would, just give the people, tell them who you are, what do you do, where are you from? Just give us a little bio from about you.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it. Marcus Williams, personal trainer, former athlete myself. My longest sport that I played was track and field, and what led me into track and field was my own knee injury. So I played football and basketball, but I got hurt playing football. And track was the only sport where I found that I could still compete even though my knee was giving me issues. I didn't know it was a torn meniscus at that time. Sprinted all throughout that time. Then I had surgery, found out how bad my knee was, kept trying to be like a pro sprinter, couldn't quite stay healthy. So I just walked away from working out, man. And for me, I talk about my faith a lot. And so that's what, I believe led me back to even becoming a trainer, being where I am now. So now it's been since 2018. I got back into the fitness space, started off in a commercial gym, really had no interest in being a trainer. I just was like, all right, let me get back into fitness, but then I was training so hard, and I'm like, man, I'm lifting heavier. I'm training more like a bodybuilder, but I'm getting less athletic. So that's when I knew like something was off. And then I remember being out in 2021, fast forward, now I'm kind of like part-time training people, doing a little track, doing a little speed work. And then my buddy who was at the Tokyo Olympics in 2021, he was a Paralympic swimmer, and his coach was like, "Hey, have you ever heard of the knees over toes guy?" And I was like, "The what?" Like I ain't never heard of none of this. So that conversation led to me actually going home, looking up his stuff on a Saturday night. I seen it. I'm like, this makes sense. I joined as a client that Sunday, did the workout, couldn't believe how much I was sweating, couldn't believe how weak I was. I'm like, we're doing body weight stuff. Why am I shaking like this? Why do I feel this way? And from that, like that was pretty much the beginning of this whole process now. And like a month later, he announced that, hey, we're gonna allow coaches to come and learn how to do this. I joined as a coach. And then fast forward through that time, I started training my mom, who had 2 hip surgeries. And I was already training my mom prior to learning the knees over toes principles. But my mom was doing the principles once a week. And after about 2.5 months, I guess she felt so good that she just went to the track on her own and went and ran, and then text me like, "Hey, Mark, I just went running. I felt amazing." And I remember being at my job, like I was working at a bank at the time, and I'm like, I jumped up out of my desk, like, what just happened? So that's what led to me being everything where I'm now, man. It was like literally just kind of like struggling through injuries, trying to figure out what I should be doing, where I should be pouring out my energy and effort, and then learning these principles. And then now 4 years later, this is all I teach, man. I've been able to work with some pro athletes like yourself, be able to connect with folks all around the world. And now I'm in South Bay. I'm in Torrance, California. So everything I do is in Southern California. And we're just going from there, man.
Man, I've been to Torrance. I like it out there, bro. That's
Okay,
a
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
that's a that I love hearing that, bro, because ATG, like those guys, explain to our listeners, our viewers, what is ATG, what is
Yeah,
knees over toes, what is all that for the people who don't know. Just
yeah.
give us a little background about that.
So ATG stands for Athletic Truth Group, right? Some people, you can say it's, it really ATG, Athletic Truth Group. Let me just keep it there. And basically, the whole thing came about from what Ben Patrick, the knees over toes guy, has started, right? Ben Patrick, with the ATG principles, athletic truth group principles, basically, it's a lot of it came from Charles Poliquin and what he was able to do with the athletes he was training. Now, Charles Poliquin was only dealing with high level elite athletes, but he figured out this kind of like strength through length, right? Kind of mindset for the upper body and a little bit for the lower body with what he knew. He had some downhill skiers. So he had like the Poliquin step up, why we call that the $1 million knee exercise. So there was like a little bit of the snippet of it. But what Ben did is he was able to take it further and study it onto the lower body. So nothing has really been reinvented, right? There's always that saying, like, nothing new is under the sun. There's nothing new under the sun. But what Ben Patrick was able to do is take the principles and the understanding of, okay, structural balance. All right, make sure the left side is as strong as the right. Make sure the front is as strong as the back. And he applied that to the lower body where you got the tib raises, the calf raises, the step up, the split squat. Like the split squat, like that full on, full knee bend, hip opened up, not letting that back knee touch the ground. That's how they used to catch Olympic snatches, right? I want to say there was a
Yeah,
snatch where they'll
yeah,
put the bar over their head. So
yeah.
they would catch it all the way down in that position, but now they catch it way more in the athletic stand-up position in that split jump. So it was just stuff that already existed, but he was in a position where he had the time to figure out how to get himself off of all the knee pain he had and the knee surgeries he had. He has an artificial kneecap. He talks about it, but Ben doesn't even have a real kneecap. And he can go into the splits, dunk, jump, squat all the way down, do amazing stuff with the same body that the doctors told him you're done. So that's kind
Wow.
of like a snippet of it, if like that
Yeah,
makes
no,
sense.
that was great. That was great.
No.
So take me through your journey. Take me through your knees over toes journey when you kind of made the switch and converted over. What was that like?
Man, so like just kind of just going back to that beginning, right? Like, so imagine where my head was, like I'm back in fitness. I'm now like the fitness manager. So all the stuff that I've known was kind of like a collection of now bodybuilding and what I used to do as a track athlete, right? And a football and basketball player. So it's like, okay, I understand the power cleans. I understand like we want to get more resistance. I understand the explosive nature. But what was like this biggest struggle in coming into this system was like regression leading to progression, right? So imagine like I'm lifting 300 pounds on the bench. I'm squatting 405. I'm deadlifting close to 500 constantly, week in and week out. But I'm feeling myself getting tighter. And then I go on the basketball court and I'm like, I'm slower. And also, I'm not stretching. So I'm hitting this rock and this hard place of like, I feel worse. I'm lifting heavier, but I literally feel worse. I'm not feeling any better. And now I'm training young athletes on how to get faster. And I'm teaching them the same stuff that I literally know is making me slower and tighter. So
Mhm.
coming into this was so like of a breath of fresh air because it was like, all right, I got to drop the weights. I have to drop pretty much how I'm approaching everything entirely and go the opposite, which was slow, low regression, right? Like pausing in the bottom, really trying to get everything opened up. And it was just a humbling experience because, like I said, I was so used to either moving fast or lifting heavy. And to go from either one of those to all body weight, and I'm sweating and I'm like shaking and my ankle shaking, and I could feel how weak my knee is, and I could feel how weak my hip is. It just made me realize, like, man, there's so much that I don't know, but I knew this was the answer that I was looking for in the pain I had been dealing with. Like, I knew
All right.
that for a fact.
So I'm an athlete of any age. Just call me high school and up. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
freshman. I'm a junior. In high school and college. Maybe I'm a pro, a young pro, a
Mm-hmm.
vet. Okay, I'm having knee pain.
Yeah.
What do I do? I don't know what to do.
Right.
I don't know what to do. I'm lifting hard. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Right.
with my school, lifting hard, maybe once a day, whatever the case may be. We're running, we're doing on the court stuff. Maybe I'm a football player, maybe I'm a basketball player, whatever the case may be. I'm an athlete, right? What do I do? There's all this noise going on around, rehab and lifts and do this and the shiny tools and all that stuff, man. What do I do? Talk to me.
So you think about it like this, right? Like most athletes, they're already crazy strong in these shorter positions. So the step up is a move that a lot of athletes already have a ton of strength in. Like if you're already been an athlete, you've been playing sport for a while, one of the things I've noticed is a lot of athletes are already strong in that shorter position. So what I try to get them to focus on first and foremost is getting that split squat down, right? Fully bending the knee, right, to get that joint to fully close. Because the first thing that starts to happen to all athletes as we start aging, we all can squat all the way down. And as we keep getting older, we start doing less and less of the deep squatting, getting all the way down. So the first thing I'm gonna get every young athlete to do is get that split squat flat on each leg, right? Especially if they're like not off of like literally I just tore my ACL or like I'm just dealing with like knee issues and like jumper's knee and the patellar tendinopathy, like all that stuff is usually tied to overuse of that shorter position, which is why the ATG split squat is the move to me, in my opinion, that brings the whole system together. Everything plays a role, but when you talk about getting the ankle, the knee, and the hip to open up, that's what eliminates a lot of that knee pain that most athletes are dealing with. Like I said, in the case of rehab, that's where a person has to get like, all right, more of the backwards walking to get the blood flow, the step ups to get the blood flow. Like that's where that order matters a lot. But most athletes just on a like straightforward, that HEG split squat takes them into a whole nother playing field, right? And then along with spending the time with that lower leg, right? Like that's another one where like I ran track. Never did we really didn't do calf raises at all, right? Like maybe for basketball it's different for y'all, but we didn't do any calf raises, and I definitely never did a tib raise. But that's another area where it's like, okay, we're putting up so much strength in that shorter, like quarter squat, lunge, Bulgarian split squat type position, but we're not spending any time getting beneath the knee just as strong. So that's another area where it's like, dude, that's a major factor because if your calf is not as strong, now your glute and hip is doing way more work just to get you off the ground, just to get into every stride, just to make the cuts.
Okay, so at home I need to do ATG split squat.
Yeah,
How many
so
sets? How many reps? What is it? What? How do I set that up? What does it look like?
man, if you're at home, like home
What is?
version,
Yeah. What does it look like?
straightforward, you start off 25 tib raises, right? Then you're going 25 straight leg calf raises.
What is a
So you're
tib raise? How do I do a tib raise?
butt against the wall, flexing the toes up, right?
Okay.
Like so your butt is against the wall. No,
Standing up.
standing up, right? You're gonna almost end up like in a V position, right? As your feet go forward and your torso leans forward. Because the more upright you are, and if your legs are just a little out underneath you, that's pretty easy to start. But you want to take those legs out as far as they can go, and a person can lean their torso over more to get that flexion to make it more challenging.
Okay.
Not trying to bend the legs, super strict, right? Because this is the other thing that happens with the tib raises, we start letting the knee bend, and now that's taking off of the tension of you actually flexing the tib muscle, which is beneath the knee. So super straight there, 25 reps. You can turn that right around. 25 straight leg calf raises. Now for the athletes, you really want to get to the point where you could do single leg calf raises. It's different for the tibs, right? You don't need to do it. You could do a single leg tib, but it's not as important because if you're able to just flex both up and control them both down, you can see it a little easier. With the calves, it's different. You really can spend the time balance wise doing one at a time. So that's why I like to do one leg on a time with the calves as the athletes get stronger. Come back again. This is all body weight. This is all one workout. 25 tibs again. Hit the tibs twice because that's like the brakes for the knees, right? Then you come back to another calf raise, which is that bent knee calf raise, knee over toe calf raise. But that one, because you're holding the knee bend position, that's preparing that more athletic position that's required in the step up, right? So a lot of folks that struggle on the step up, that's another area where it's like you want to get strong, holding that athletic position where your knees are bent and pushing your whole body up. So I kind of call it like the Michael Jackson move, right? You kind of need a visual, like thinking about how Michael Jackson was pushing his whole body up on his toes. Then you go step ups. Now the step ups again, depending on where the athlete is, it's a super important thing, but most of the time it's just the strength they need to get back to performing. So with the step ups, 3 sets of 10 is enough, right? You can do 3 sets of 10. If your knee is really bugging you, then you can start to work 3 sets of 20. And then you go to the split squat, 5 sets, 5 reps on each leg because it's a greater range of motion. The most important thing with the split squat is getting that full knee bend though. right? Getting all the way down, getting comfortable in the bottom, keeping the chest upright, letting that back leg and that torso open up, because that's the other thing that's happening is both legs are working in that move. You're bending your front knee, you're getting the ankle, the knee and the hip on that front knee, but on that back leg that's straight, that's how you're opening up that hip flexor, which takes a lot of the pressure off the knee too. Like a lot of folks have knee issues too, again, because the hip flexor is so tight, it's pulling on the kneecap. And you look at the image of a hip flexor, it runs down the whole front of your knee, up around into your hip and around into your low back. So that's why that split squat, people feel it into their back even as they're opening up. Then after that, you can go elephant walk, which is now for a lot of athletes, as you keep playing your sports, it's so hard for them to just touch their toes. So now with the elephant walk, you're getting to open up the calf, the back of the knee, the hamstring, and the glute, right? So getting that open up one leg at a time, kind of shifting each leg back. That's another one. Then from there, I like the pigeon push-ups on the ground, like the 90-90, right? So if you're going 90-90 and you go head to knee, that's easier. Keeping the back leg at 90, front leg at 90. Head to knee is easier. Going to the outside of the hips easier. But as you come more towards your toe and trying to take your head towards your toe, like if you've seen like Manu Ginobili, he was another cat that, like if there's old clips of Manu Ginobili on the bench where he could basically take his foot and go like up here, right? Like that type of joint, and then come in the game and go crazy. So that's another one for the hip mobility. After that, I like the L sit, being able to hold the L sit for 1 minute. Then you really want to get to where you can hold it for 20 seconds, like 1 minute on each leg to start. That's enough of that core strength. That's a big part of like, I don't even do crunches no more. I just do L sits. But if you can hold the L sit all the way, like where your knees are tucked, body tucked, that's a more elevation. I like 20-second holds there, but on the ground, 1 minute is enough. And again, trying to really keep that tight angle compressed here. That's what makes it harder, because then when you lean back, that's easier. And then after that, couch stretch. Put that leg behind you on the wall, 1 minute on each. Now that right there is like the perfect lower body, just simple flow. Knock that out. It takes like 30 minutes, man. As you
All
get
right,
stronger, keep going. That
that's
was a lot.
that
That was a
was
mouthful.
that was a lot. Now, but hold on though. But hold on though, because now it was a lot, but it's important because so I want to go back. I want to go back and highlight the. I think it was like 5 or 6, maybe. I want to go back and highlight those because me personally, I have seen what works for my body, and there
Mm-hmm.
has through my journey, there's been a lot of
Goodies.
different periods of times where I was working through different exercises and things like that. Now I've got a good set, like regimen, should I say, that
Mm-hmm.
I go over with. But one thing that I've learned from you that I really loved, and I say I learned from you, man, I've seen you do it, and I'm like, man, let me just try it. I've seen it
Okay.
forever. Was the tib raises,
Yeah.
and I think that was the one part. Like the split squat's good for me as well. That was the first thing that I did actually was the split squat to get down there to see what it really feels like, and it's
Mm-hmm.
hard to start loading it's hard to like body weight is easier for me, but when you start
Yeah.
loading that thing, it gets really, and I'm talking 15,
Come on.
20 pounds,
Yeah.
it gets heavy. When you're
Yeah.
running that, how many sets, how many reps are you doing on each side?
I like five. I like five. I like
Five
five to
reps?
start. Now, depending on each athlete, like last year, I was with Spencer Dinwiddie and we did sets of 8 on it the whole time.
Okay,
Like,
okay,
depending on the athlete, I like to go up maybe 8 to 12 on each leg,
okay,
you
okay.
know?
All right, so let's run it back. All right, run it back. Run us through
Yep.
a little cheat sheet of the five
Yep.
exercises. And here's the thing, though, a lot of these cats they probably don't even know what the
I
elephant walk
know. That's what
is.
I know.
They
That's what I'm
probably,
like.
they barely, and it's not a knock.
Yeah.
It's not a knock. There's no knock there.
Yeah.
A pigeon, they don't know what a tib
Right.
raise. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
walk us through that really quickly.
So you think about like, so the tib raise is literally you flexing your feet up. I don't got no space.
Now you're good.
You,
You're good. The
you,
tib raise, you did a good job explaining that one. You did
yeah,
the
you
tib
think
raise. Yeah.
about like if this is your leg, this is your foot, you're just being able to flex that toe up all the way and then control it all the way down.
All right,
Right?
that's number one.
Number
What's
one,
what's number two?
calf raises, straight leg calf raises.
Okay, so
So,
25 tibs.
yep,
Okay,
25 straight leg calf raises.
okay. What's number three?
Tib raises again,
Okay,
doubling up on the tips,
all
right?
right. Number
Then a
four.
calf raise, different calf raise, you're bending your knee now, holding a
Yep,
bent knee position.
yep. Okay,
Right? That because two different calf raises. One is more of the gastroc, the belly part of the calf, and the other one where your knee is bent gets into that soleus and the Achilles tendon. So
okay.
that's the reason why they're two different. Then the step ups, right? And the biggest difference with the step up and the split squat, why each one matters, is the step up is more of that mind to muscle connection for an athlete to jump and be able to be more explosive and to develop that VMO in that shorter position like that, get the glute firing, that real athletic position. And the split squat is that mobility and longevity piece of being able to squat all the way down like a child to
When
really
you
get that
say
rubber band to open up.
when you say step up, what are we talking? A 12-inch box? Are we talking a low step up? Are we talking 24 inches? What are we talking?
So our step ups are technically like the reverse step up, right? You think about the traditional high box step up, that's when you would go 12, 24, and you're stepping up this way.
Okay.
Technically, our step up is more of a step down because you're stepping down like you would a stair.
Poliquin step.
Poliquin,
Okay.
Patrick,
Oh,
those
that's
are the
what you
step
mean when you
ups.
say step up.
That's what I mean with step up.
Okay, so you have me confused.
Yeah,
Okay, so the
yeah,
Poliquin step. Okay, okay,
yeah.
okay. All
So when
right.
I say step up, it's technically a step down, right? But yeah, those are
Okay.
the that's the step up family, and like I said, that's very different in how the muscles is firing there. So the step up and the max height that I would say people really can work to with weight using a slam board is like you could go past 8 inches, but I've seen with this 3 stacks. I get this. I use the Tib Bar guys slant stack, so it's 3 boards plus the slam board, and I think it's closer to like 8 to 9 inches. But that demand and that strength has been more than enough for the athletes that I've been training. Like if a person can step down from that height with 50% of your body weight, I mean, you're gonna be crazy strong and healthy. But let me
Yeah,
stick to body
the
weight.
the step down, the backwards treadmill, um, and the tib raise. Those have been and the calf raise. I've started incorporating a lot more calf raises than I ever have. When I was
Yes.
in college, I used to calf raise a lot.
Okay.
As I got older, I didn't like
Come on.
when I 2017. I haven't
Yeah.
calf raised since. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and I would look down at my cats and be like, oh, they
Come
big
on.
and they decent size. I don't need it. I
Right?
don't need. I don't need. They don't need no love,
Come on.
man. But then it's starting to realize, bro, the bottom of my feet, like showing my feet love, doing the little toe spread and
Mhm.
stuff. You know what I'm saying? The doing the calf, just working out my lower ankle, my lower feet, bro. It has been life changing for me, man. As
Okay.
athletes, as basketball players, we roll our ankles. You roll an ankle every other day, but like
Mhm.
that's just what happens. You roll your ankle, you keep playing. You roll your ankle, you keep playing. For all the basketball players out there, they know what it's like, man. So
Mhm.
taking care of your feet, man, just relieving that pressure. I tore my plantar fascia. That was my
Mhm.
last. That was my most recent uh,
Mhm.
injury. I know you and I were talking about injuries before we got on here, man. Yeah, like I said, I had five total surgeries. So both ACL meniscus, and then I had both of my calves. I had surgery on both of my calves, a bilateral fasciotomy. And
Mhm.
so my lower feet, and then just fractured toe, tore the plantar fascia. The lower extremities are taking a beating, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what I'm saying? And the older you get, you want to keep that longevity. It's just like and I try to tell my athletes now when I'm working with my high school guys, I'm like, please, man, let me just show y'all like what it looks like. Let me just
Come
show
on.
y'all what the rehab looks like, man.
Come on.
You don't have to do it right now, but
Right.
you're gonna need it at some point. And when you need it, I want you to know that I got you, bro. I got you.
Period.
I
That part.
got you. You know what
Serious,
I'm saying?
man.
Because
Serious.
it's hard, bro, and
Mm-hmm.
they don't know. I didn't learn it. I had to go through all this
Come
to
on.
learn, and you know what I'm saying. You've got
Yeah.
all these voices, people talking to you, so it's difficult, man. And
It is.
guys like yourself, who's been there, who've had that, those injuries, and are pushing that. I had to come on here, and I want them. I need them to hear you talk about what that journey is like, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, you hitting the nail on the head because that's when all my injuries started in high school, right? Like, because you just don't know what you don't know, man. You feel so good all the time, and you don't know like all this sport and playing fast and moving fast is doing something to our body. So we have to train and we have to recover well if we want to do it for a long period of time.
And one thing that I hate though is like from once it starts, it doesn't it doesn't stop.
All right.
You know what I mean? And like it starts freshman, sophomore year. It starts there. And
Mm-hmm.
for and until college, you don't do anything about it
Come on.
because you don't know.
Period.
You know what I'm saying? There's no
Period.
time. There's no time allotted to rehab. There's no
Yep.
time allotted to the ice and to the stem and to
Yep.
all. There's no time allotted to that in high school. So
Mm-hmm.
once you get injured, and you will get an ankle, you will get
Mm-hmm.
you will get something. Once you get that, you go 4 years with nothing. And
Serious.
then if you're lucky enough to get to college, then they're trying to like, hey, you know that ankle that you that you tore all the ligaments in your freshman year? Yeah, it's starting to you're starting to have some
Yeah.
your knees are starting your
Yeah.
it's time to start doing some things
Yeah.
now. And then they get overloaded. My athletes are
Man.
getting overloaded, and then it's like, well, I need to play, I
Right.
need to train, I need to play. I'm trying to
Right.
get a spot.
Right.
But if you don't rest, you're not getting any better.
Mm-hmm.
And I was fortunate enough and unfortunate enough to get injured, so then I had to rest.
Right.
Right. So every year I played college, every year after my freshman year, I had surgery. I got
Mm.
injured. And
Mm.
I had to miss an extended period of
Mm-hmm.
time, which then gave me the time to then try to like reboot the system. You
Right.
know what I mean?
I
And so,
do.
man, this stuff is so important, bro. It's so
It
important.
is. It
It's
is. And the thing is, in the high school too, this is the time for them to be so strong and dominant with body weight, right? Like you already know, like, yeah, you could lift, but at this point right now, they need to be so strong with their own body weight, able to do all these moves, no problem, right? Be able to get all the way down on a split squat with your own body weight, like you said, because you already see how much more challenging it is loading it up. And a lot of these athletes right now, it's like just to do it with body weight is a big struggle if they've been playing a long time. So just to dominate that makes a huge difference.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Let's talk to me about some of the athletes you work with, man. I know you mentioned working with Spencer. What was that like?
man, bro. So
What is
same
the
like
what is their what did you notice about the way they approach the craft? Let's just talk about what that whole scenario was like.
yeah, and so me, Spencer was connected with me through Ben, right? Knees over
Right.
toes guy connected
Yeah.
me with him, and one thing I tell you, so I worked with Spencer for about 2 months last summer, and then I worked with Davion Mitchell for a session. We just did a little bit just to kind of like show him some stuff. What I'll tell you, what I learned with that time with Spencer, first of all, when the Lakers lost last year in the playoffs, we were training 2 days later. All
Mm,
right. So just to give you an idea, so I was going to his house, 6 a.m. We worked 6 a.m., 6 days a week for 2 straight months, right? Because he was coming off two ACLs, and his whole focus was on having an even better year, right? Because he had a lot of stuff that happened, was in Brooklyn, ended up in LA, and then it was like, all right, what's the next move? So this before he went to Dallas, and he's been in Dallas. The one thing I can tell you about Spencer that I noticed immediately, like the fact that he jumped into it 2 days after, and he really was just all in terms of being a student of the system, is what I've seen is why he's still playing and he's still being healthy in going into year 11 now. Now I
11.
don't I don't know every pro, I don't know everybody work ethic, but I'll tell you from what I took away from the time with him, he had his own home gym. He had all the equipment at his house. I didn't even really have to come there and bring anything because he was already so ready to take his career to the level he's trying to continuously play it at. And I think the biggest thing that I'll say is that the real serious, super dedicated athletes, they got everything they need to really make it happen. Like it's a full on, let me invest in everything I need so I have it all. And it's not like, all right, what am I gonna do? So that was like the biggest thing I see from him. Cause like I said, every day, 6 a.m., Monday through Saturday, showing up. And a big thing with him was wherever the stuff was challenging, right? Like he was just willing to keep working. Because now he's in Dallas and he's working with another guy in Dallas that still does the same. Joey Burgos. I don't know if you heard that guy, Joey.
Yeah, I was I seen him
Yeah,
this morning. Yeah.
yeah. So Joey and him is out there doing this. They back at it, doing the same thing. He just posted Spencer doing
Yeah.
275 deep squat all the way
That's
down. So it's
exactly what I just saw.
yeah, man. So that's the same stuff. I got the videos. That was us last summer. So he's just continuing on with what he started and picked up on and understood because again, he's 6'5". So 6'5", being able to squat all the way down, get the split squat all the way down, and feel what that's like as an athlete to be able to attack from either side, especially coming off two ACLs, it's like you don't feel like you could really attack on that side that's been hurt. But now having that feeling back, that's what an athlete wants. You want to be able to react to whatever's going on, right? It's not like cookie cutter, like, all right, if they go there, I'm gonna do this. It's like, or you thought you was about to lock me up this way and I can cut back, go into a different direction because my body can respond to what I wanted to do. And it's not the hesitation of I'm afraid that I'm gonna get hurt again.
Right.
Man, that was the biggest thing. Like the biggest thing with him for sure was that. Like, bro had all the equipment. He was willing to get whatever he needed to have. And he was showing up, no problem, just real coachable, really trying to figure out. Like, he wasn't coming at it like I've been in the league 10 years. Like, who are you? Because I ain't nobody, right? He got me through Ben. But when I showed up, he was like, I'm the student, you the teacher. So let's go.
Let's t- let's talk about your following, right? And I know you have a large following, and obviously that's where I found you through
Right.
the information that you've been sharing. What has that journey been like, branding yourself and just putting out valuable information? I know obviously it's hard, man, but
Yeah.
like you're consistent. You know what I mean? You're putting it out there, and it's not about showing everybody the highlights. It's about showing what it's really like.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you're getting a lot of traction, is because you just put the camera on and you're like, look, guys, this is what I'm doing. And I'm doing it every single day. You're watching me
Serious.
do it every day.
Serious.
What has it been like growing that following, man?
You know, it's been humbling, right? Because I've been on social media for so long, right? Like, obviously my page actually started growing with this information, but I've been on social media, right? And the biggest thing that's for me that I've said that's helped me grow is I literally try to think about what would somebody else want to share if I made a post. And I learned that from an author, what's his name? I can't. He's the author of 1 Million Followers. But I just like started listening to it. Like Ben helped me a lot. Like Ben Patrick helped me a lot because this is how genuine he is when he makes his content, right? Like he was in his backyard for a long time. So a lot of my style I picked up from watching him. I'm like, dude, this dude's just really being authentic. Like, yeah, he was a little more scripted than I was, but I was like, he's not trying to hide anything. So that was how I got my original. But now is my focus is like when I make a video, I'm literally trying to imagine my ideal client and I'm trying to enter the conversation in their head. So now a lot of my content is imagining what is the stuff that what are the conversations people are having with themselves and what's the things they're like holding on to that they don't believe they could break through, right? So
Mhm.
like I've noticed, like on Facebook, I get the most love, because it was like, and
Really?
it makes sense. My mom was my biggest success story. So a lot of older folks are afraid of hurting and they've been bone on bone. And so I'm realizing a big part of making content again for me is making something that somebody will want to share and trying to enter the conversation they're already having in their head so they can see, hey, I've spent the time trying to understand them and the content I'm making is for them.
Mm.
And that's
Yeah,
been a part of just learning all that. Like that's just been the marketing stuff, just trying to understand it.
you talk about that, man. What is For me? It's been interesting. It's been exciting to watch your road to dunking. What? Talk to me about that, man. Talk to me about your.
Oh,
Now, I love it, bro,
yeah,
because for somebody who has had knee
right,
injuries, bro, I have been multiple months dunking a tennis ball,
right.
dunking a volleyball, dunking a women's
Come
ball,
on, man.
dunking a
Yeah,
little ball. Yeah,
yeah.
bro. If you haven't done that, then you
Come
ain't really
on,
been trying to progress. You know what I'm
come
saying?
on.
Like, I know what it's like.
Yeah,
Talk to me about that about you. It's been really humbling, man, and I love watching you battle through it.
and that's it. Like that's it because, like like imagine for so long, man. Like I was and this is just some internal stuff that I had to get over, right? Because when I showed up on the scene with this stuff, I could have easily stayed in my head like I'm already strong enough. I'm already fast enough. I should already be there. I shouldn't have to go through this process. But I had to really just humble myself. It's like, bro, if everything that I was doing was working, I would have already been doing it. Right? Like, and this is where it was so hard because I'm like, if I knew what I knew and I had it all figured out, why I'm not yamming every time I go to the court? And so I just had to be like, all right, I can't keep faking. Like, I can't keep like, all right, I'm not gonna show this, and then I'm gonna pop out one day like I'm dunking. Like,
We do that a lot,
come
though.
on.
We do it a lot, and it's hard to get away from it, bro.
Come
I
on.
am a victim myself. I know I am. It's like we're like, man, if it ain't gonna be perfect, I ain't gonna show
Come
it.
on.
That's how we get. I know it, man.
So that's been it, man. I'm just like, I ain't gonna make all the attempts. It's not gonna be pretty every week. I don't know how I'm gonna feel, and I gotta face that. So that's what it's been. It's like, all right, bro. and just
That
tell the people, like, remind, because then when I tell everybody again, yeah, I've been hurt for a long time. I'm like, that's right, you've been hurt for a long time. Like, relax. The fact that you're even showing up and jumping and you ain't hurt no more is huge.
I think that I like it because that is the only way you get better.
Come on.
And people don't get better because they don't want to face that.
Period.
People, you know what I mean? They are afraid to look bad, so I just
Come on.
won't try.
Come on.
And that's the worst. And no shade here because I'm speaking from experience.
Mm-hmm.
Give you an example. For me, I took 4 years of Spanish in college.
Okay.
I can speak Spanish pretty well.
Right.
I would go overseas. I lived in Spain 3 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? I lived in France 3 years. I lived in Italy, all Latin language, all Latin speaking countries. And so at first I would know how to speak this stuff, but I'd be like, I don't want to mess up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to mess up. I don't want people to laugh at me. What are they gonna say to me?
Come on.
And that's just one example, but that's how we live life. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And it wasn't for me till I lived over in Europe for so many years and being around my teammates, my European teammates, speaking English.
Come on.
Right? They speak a different language. English is their second language, and they
Right.
chatting it up with me. And I'm like, yo, they're like, oh, sorry, my language. I'm like, nah,
Come
bro, I
on.
understand you. I'm cool.
Come
I
on,
understand
man.
what you're
I
saying.
love that. I
We're
love
we're
that.
good.
Yeah.
Like you're trying, I'm trying.
Come
Ain't
on.
there's no shade here.
Yeah.
I don't, you know what I'm saying? You're good with me. And that's the thing, is like they can do that over there, but we get over here and we're too cool.
Come on, man. Whew.
We're too cool.
The whole word right
You
there,
know what
bro.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I had to I had to come when I moved, when I started coming back home after like 5 years as a pro, people started thinking, oh, Obi's different. I just don't care no more. I don't
Come on.
care. I
Come
don't care
on.
what you think.
Period, man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I love my experience that I've had over there, man, because
Mhm.
for instance, like I go over there, bro, you'll be, we're from the States. Joe,
Yeah.
go over there fresh.
Come on.
Got the night, bro.
Come
You're walking 6 miles, bro. They don't care about none of that.
on.
I don't care about none of that, bro. You about to
Period.
walk 6 miles today. You
Period.
better you better come ready to walk.
Come on.
You came for a fashion show. And now you mad, you sweating bullets.
Come on, bro.
Sweating, uncomfortable, feet hurting. And
Come
so,
on.
and I started going over there like, all right, boom, I fall in, I'm about to sweat. So what? Who cares? We're walking, we're having a good time. That was me putting my guard down and understanding. And then I started coming back over here and I'll be like, I'm walking around, you know what I'm saying, not caring about being all super dressed, wearing my sweats, being comfortable. Started wearing Hokas, started wearing all, Brooks, started wearing, people wearing Jordans and doing this. And I'm like, nah, bro, my feet hurt. I'm trying to
Come
be
on,
comfortable.
man. Come
I don't
on.
care if you think I look cool or not.
Come on.
I'm comfy. You know what I mean?
Period.
And like,
Yeah.
I had to grow older. I had to grow up for that. And
Mhm.
it took me being in in that environment and failing in that environment
Mhm.
to then bring in that same confidence to this environment. So when
Yep.
I talk to my athletes, I'm like, hey man, I don't care that you missed the shot. I
Come
don't
on.
care that you turned the ball. Play hard, get back,
Yep.
run, go, do what you're supposed to do next.
Period.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
don't worry about what other people are saying. And nowadays, athletes so specifically, man, they are so afraid of what their friend will say, their friend who is standing right next to them, their friend that they probably like, you know,
Oh, I
you don't,
know.
you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I
Like, go
know.
do your own thing.
Come on.
Don't be afraid of failure. And so seeing a guy like yourself, it's not a secret why people are wanting to follow you. It's not a secret why you're here, man. You're pushing the right message. You're pushing to the people, the right things. It's like, it's not going to be perfect. This is what it looks. This is what success looks like.
Come
I know
on.
you've been seeing a bunch of highlights,
Come on.
but this is what it looks like in the real world,
Straight up.
right? And so that to me has been huge. That mentality shift for the athletes is everything, and that's what I'm looking for. And I'm looking for people to spread that, man. So
Yeah, man.
that you just wanted to show you love about that, bro, because
I appreciate it.
you have also helped me to make some content to try to help the next person.
Yeah, good.
To get the confidence to reach out and be like, hey, man, I love what you're doing. Would you
Serious.
mind coming on here and sharing
Serious.
with my people your
Serious.
knowledge?
And I appreciate it for real.
So Yeah, man. That's. I wanted to give you that, man. And I know I can sit
Yeah,
here and talk to you about rehab and sports forever, man.
yeah, man.
Uh, but I wanted to, before we get that out of here, man. Before we get out of here, I wanted to ask you two questions we always ask our guests,
Got
man.
it.
Who has been one person who has had the biggest influence on you and your mentality towards excellence? Let's
Mm,
call it. Who has
mm.
been that person?
Man, you know, there's been a lot of people. All right. Now, I'll use the one example that for me was a pivotal point in where I was in my life. So there was a point where, and this is like, I guess I can call him like my cousin, man. He's really like a family friend. Like his dad dated my auntie, and so we kind of were raised together, right? We weren't really blood. So I got kicked out of college at the end of my freshman year, right? Like lost my scholarship, just partying, man. Like, and so when I got kicked out of college, I came home, not really knowing what I was gonna do. And that family friend let me work with him, right? Now he was a plumber. This man ain't no college athlete, right? So I'm 19, he 23. And I remember the first night he was like, all right, bro, you come to work with me. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing. I'm like, all right, I'm home from college. I don't know if I'm still gonna go back to college. I don't know what I was gonna do. I'll never forget. It was a Sunday night. We sleep. It was like 10:30. Went to bed. I was not a morning person like I am now. This man woke me up at 5 in the morning. We went to bed at 10:30 at night. I was not waking up at this early in the morning. I couldn't believe how much he woke me up. Mind you, he's 23. He already had a daughter and another baby on the way. He came out, woke me up. I went back to sleep, started turning over, and he came back out. And I won't say what he said, but he definitely laid into me like, you're so talented that you're lazy. And this is why you got kicked out of college.
Yeah.
Straight, right? He ain't sugarcoated. He like, bro, you so smart, you so talented, you got all this potential, but you struggling to get up. And you said you was gonna get up 15 minutes ago. I was like, bro, I'm not your daddy. Get up.
Mm.
That's your problem. You waited for me to wake you up all gentle. Get up. Are you serious about this or not? So that was the person that made me realize, all right, bro, I'm tripping, right? Because he ain't never played no sports. He ain't been traveling all across the country, staying in hotels and eating for free and getting gear and getting praise when you score and praise when you run fast. So he like, bro, I don't know nothing about this college life you've been living. I'm trying to figure out how you sleeping in so easy. Cause
Mm.
that's crazy. So that was like the first person, man. There's been a lot of people, but my brother Daryl Ware, man, that's my
Wake
brother,
up
man.
call. A
That was
wake up
my
call.
that man was a godsend for me, cause I was going down a whole nother path, and he was like, "You done lost your mind, boy."
I see. I mean, the lack of Daryls in this world is what's wrong with the
Come
world.
on, come on, bro.
You know what I mean?
Come on, bro.
And I see I see my athletes kind of falling. Not just my athletes. I see athletes in general,
Period.
and falling victim to the laziness, the
Come on,
entitledness.
come
And I
on.
don't think that they quite understand. I mean, I'm getting older, and I start to
Yeah, yeah.
understand what it's like to actually live a life that's not the athlete life.
Come on,
You know what I mean? The
come on,
athlete life is the sweet one.
come on, bro.
That's the sweet life,
Come
And I
on.
say sweet with all respect to us because we working our
Serious.
butt off,
Yeah.
but sweet
Come
in the
on.
sense of responsibility.
Yeah, that part.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like in the sense of like, man, get up,
Come on, bro.
get up. You said you wanted this, get up, let's
Period.
go.
Period.
And that's got to be like that. That has to be the attitude, or we won't get it.
Exactly.
We won't get it,
And
and
exactly.
we already going the wrong way.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of like, that's my biggest thing, man. Is just somebody to hold us accountable. I had people holding me accountable. I also want to hold people accountable. I want people to
Mhm.
continue to hold me accountable. And that's what it takes
Mhm.
is a bunch of people like that. But
The
you hold
truth,
somebody
bro.
accountable nowadays, they might, what I'm saying,
Come on.
they gonna think you try
He
you
get
like
canceled.
you lightweight abuse them or something.
Come
You
on.
can't call nobody out about nothing now.
Oh,
That's a
the
different
truth,
topic
man.
though.
It's the
But
truth,
dang,
man. But
yeah,
seriously, the
man.
truth, man. It's the truth. Well, you
Man,
know.
but secondly,
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
second question I like to ask, man, is how do you practice self-love?
You know. For me, man, that's where I'll go to my faith, like it's a combination, like it's a combination of, for me, again, this for me, like my self-love is in a form of two things. Obviously, it's my working out, right? Because that is where my and I don't want to sit and say I was fully depressed. I'm still kind of battling with, like, was I in a full state of depression? Was I like, or just, I don't know. But definitely through actually working out and taking care of my body, and then just thanking God, man. Like, and through a lot of reading, like actually just kind of spending time reading helps me a ton. Like, whether that be the Bible or just any type of book, right? Because the physical part for me has always made me feel alive, and it made me feel like, okay, I'm valuing this gift of being alive, and I'm valuing the gift that he gave me, which is working out and being able to take care of my body. Because for a long time, that's not how I thought. And the second thing is the mind, like to continuously read and grow my mind. Because, and I mean, I'm not gonna go too deep, but for us, we wasn't even allowed to read at one point. So it's like I take that very, very serious. And for me now, just spending time reading audiobooks, whatever the case may be, that's what makes me feel very much alive, man. Learning, like working out and learning. You know what I'm saying? For
The
sure.
pursuit of excellence.
Come on.
The pursuit of excellence. That's why we're here, man.
You
Brother,
know,
Mark, I love having this conversation, man. I loved you being on here and sharing these tips with us. This is going to be something that I'm going to be tuned in with you
I mean,
frequently, man, because I
yeah,
see
yeah,
what you're
yeah.
doing. I needed, the best ability is what do they how do they call it? What do
Availability.
they say? Availability.
Come
That's
on.
the
Straight
best
up.
ability is availability. There
That's
you
a
go.
fact.
All right, man. So, me at how old am I? 31, 32, man. I'm getting old, bro.
We up there,
So,
bro.
that's the thing, man, is being able to stay available and stay
Mhm.
young and stay youthful and stay sprinting and stay
Come on.
jumping.
Come
You
on.
know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just those two things, stay sprinting and stay jumping.
Mhm.
And that's what we're here for, man. But I appreciate you for coming on here, sharing your tips, sharing your tricks, sharing all your knowledge with us, man. Tell the people where they can find you.
Muscle and motivate, man. Muscle and motivate on everything. Muscle, right? Then letter N, MOTIV, and the number 8. Muscleandmotivate.com. That's my handle. That's everything. You can find me anywhere with that one.
Okay. All right, man. Mark, I appreciate you for coming on here, man, sharing
Hey,
all your
man.
experience, brother. Stay in touch. You guys saw it, Muscle and Motivate. If you guys want to follow him, tap in, reach out with him, and follow his journey, man. I appreciate
All right.
you.
Appreciate you.